Better at Home presentation for today. We're going to be talking about the housing pilot overview. And if you haven't already, please enter your information in the chat, your title, position, agency, and email address so that you can receive credit for today's presentation.
Okay, Geneva, you can let me know when it's 10:32. Let me know when you want me to get started.
You may go ahead and get started.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Patricia Bryan. I am the supporting housing specialist for Alliance. We are here this morning to talk about the targeted unit profiles, like target properties, the pilot properties, I'm sorry. So the difference between the pilot property is the same. There's a difference between the pilot property and targeted properties. Targeted properties are exactly, the pilot properties are exactly targeted properties, if you understand that. The only difference is that the Department of Health and Human Services is allowing us to be the front runner. So we are in communication with the property managers. So we can talk to the property managers. A lot of times with targeted properties, we were unable to have conversation with the property managers. So now this program, so they have selected certain properties that we can converse with the property manager. So we are on the front end talking to the property manager, making sure that all of the referrals actually comes in. If there is any tenancy issues, that information will come to us first instead of going to the Department of Health and Human Services. So we are their main contact. So we are their first contact. That is the only difference between the pilot program and the targeted program. With the targeted programs, the targeted properties, we are not able, they have not given us permission to speak to the property manager. But with the pilot, they are saying that we can talk to the property managers, and so we are their primary contact. So we will select the units that that is needed. We can talk about the unit mixes, and so we can identify all of those units that we need for the population that we serve. And so that is the only difference between the targeted program and the pilot program. Next slide. So the day I'm going to talk about, and Chris and I are actually going to be doing this presentation today. I'm going to talk about and show you some properties, and these are the pilot properties that has been selected by the Department of Health and Human Services, as well as Department of North Carolina Housing Finance Agency. So you can get a visual view of some of these properties that is actually coming on board. Some of these properties have already been on board. We have had several referrals, application. In fact, we've also had several individuals actually moved into these units. So which is also good. So one of this property right here is called Eastside Flats. The Eastside Flat is actually located in Charlotte. So Eastside Flat is actually coming on board June 10th. We are accepting referrals. We have referrals that's actually coming in. Anyone who wanting to live in the Charlotte Mecklenburg area, we have application. They are submitting application now. Applications are actually being approved now for this property. So this is a visual view of this property. And some of the properties that we do have pictures, so you can actually see the location. Then you also can actually see, there's a general map that we have designed. So you can actually see some of the amenities in that area of Eastside Flats. Next slide, please. So here are some of the amenities for Eastside Flats. It's there are 1, 2, and 3 bedroom. This is a family location. We have fully accessible and curbless showers, so in fully accessible units and handicap units available for our members. Then we talk about how you can see, if you can see, you can see how far the bus stop, the library, the grocery store, the pharmacy. We try to, when they build these units, we make sure that we have them in a general location, that all of the amenities is not that far away from the property itself. Next slide. So the next one is actually coming on board, and it's not on board yet, is the Flats at West Boulevard. This is also located in Charlotte. And I believe that this property is actually going to be coming on board like late or mid-October. So this is how this property is actually going to look. And here is the map that it shows you the general location of this property and what is in the area. Okay, they are not accepting application on this property yet. We're probably going to start accepting application maybe August, so that all of that general information will go out, and Chris will be actually sending that information out to everyone to make sure that you are aware of this property actually coming on board for our members. Next slide. Next slide. Okay, so here are some of the amenities. This is a family unit. It does not have elevators, so it's like 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms. It tells you where the bus is actually located, transportation. The pharmacy is like 1.2 miles, the library, the grocery stores. So we did, when we looked at this location, we tried to bring all of those needed amenities to you, so you can have this information, so you can actually discuss this with your tenant if your member wants to live at this location as well. Thank you. Next. The Resident at Cedar Creek. This is another location here at the Charlotte area. This location is actually coming on board. It has 20 units, and it's also a family unit, and it has 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms available for our members. There is the map that's actually where that property is actually being located. It's actually being built. It's actually almost to the completion of it. I think it's actually in the South Charlotte area. So if anyone who's interested in applying for that unit, they may do so. They are accepting application now, although I don't have any application at this moment, but they are accepting applications. So if you have anyone, and this unit is actually coming on board, it should be on board before July. So if you have anyone who's interested, I don't have the correct CO date yet, but I will get that soon. And as soon as I get that information, I will be sending that information out to you, so you can discuss this property with your members, and then see if they are interested in that location. Because a lot of people wants to be in the South Charlotte location, because they have that the transportation, the rail system. And so transportation is not going to be a barrier in this area as well. Next slide. Sorry. So here are some of the amenities. It told you where the grocery stores, the hospital, the convenience store. Like I said, we have 20 units, a family unit. We do have the fully accessible and the handicap accessible units identified for our members. We need about at least 20. If we can get more than that, that would be perfect. They do accept pets, but there's a pet fee for that. There's no smoking in none of these units. I do have to apologize for that, but they do have designated smoking area for our members. So if you have a member who smoked, they still can apply for these units, but they cannot smoke inside of the unit. Okay, next slide. The Legacy at Carr Heights. This is another location in the Charlotte area, and it's located off of West Boulevard. This unit is completed. We do have, and I am proud to say that we have 12 units here. We have 12 applicants already approved for this unit. We have 11. I'm sorry. We have 11 actually approved for this unit. We have one more. Yes. We have one more applicant that's actually going to apply, and that information was received today. So that person's actually going to go out. This is a senior location. And so you have to be at least 45 or older. And so I'm really excited about that. Our members who has been approved, they will sign their lease like May 20th. And y'all see my fingers crossed on that. I am really crossing my fingers on that. Hopefully that all 12 of these applicants will actually sign their lease on May 20th, which is next week. I think it is next week. So that would be great. I am so excited about this unit. This has been a lot of collaboration with the property manager going back and forth. And one of the things about the pilot program that I am so happy, and I know Chris, is that Chris and I, we can talk directly to the property manager and get information. If a person needs an updated award letter, they can send that information, or need a bank statement, they can send that. They can call us and they can talk to us and say, Patricia, I need a bank statement for Mr. Johnson or Mr. whatever, and whomever, and we can get that information and communicate that information back to them. So that is the great thing about these pilot programs, is that we are in communication with these property managers, and it makes it a little bit easier. Not saying that, not saying that Department of Health and Human Services, we don't have to go through them. We do have to go through them with certain things, but we can talk to the property manager, and that is a plus. And so I think when we're talking to the property manager, we move a little bit more faster because we are in communication with these property managers, and we know what they need, and we can get those things to them as soon as possible and get those applicants approved. So I am really pleased about this property right here. So we're good on this one. Next one. Next slide, please. And so here are the amenities, and we're talking about, this is a elderly restricted, age restricted, 45 or plus. They have 1 and 2 bedrooms. They have fully accessible, like with the curbless shower, someone who's actually in a wheelchair. And then we also have the one with the grab bars. One of the things, we were on a call with them yesterday, and we said, if we have a person that they don't have grab bars, they can install those grab bars in those units before the person takes possession of that unit. So, which is actually great. So like somebody needs grab bars in the shower or in the bathroom, we can actually install those grab bars for our members, so they can be safe in their living environment. So this is a major plus with us. I love it. I love it. I love it. Next slide, please. So here are some of the properties that's actually coming on board and coming soon. We have like the Belmore at Ballantyne. We're going to have 9 units there. That's in Charlotte and Mecklenburg there. We have Miller Commons, which is 16 unit. That's in Raleigh. Aspen Spring, that's a senior unit, that's also in Raleigh. Summit at Sawyer, that's over 16 units, and that's also in Raleigh. In Juniper Village is in Livington, and that's in Harnett County. So we have that as well. Next slide, Geneva. Because I know that there are other properties that was not listed on this, Geneva, and I think that we need to probably talk about it before Chris comes on. There was a property called Acadia. I think all of those properties, that's another pilot program, and I'm really pleased to talk about that unit. All those units are filled. It's a family unit. There were 9 units there. We had 9 applicants, and we probably had more than 9. And all of those members have already signed their lease. Yes, they're currently moved in. They are housed at Acadia, so that is perfect. There was another one, the Retreat at Selma, and I think that's in Johnston County. And they had 9 units there. They are accepting applications. Yeah, Johnson County, and they have 9 units, and they are currently accepting application there. I know that Chris, those applications are actually going through Chris. There are several application being processed right now. I don't know, Chris, and you can help me on this. I don't know if they have any person who's actually moved in to retreat at Selma.
We haven't had anybody move in yet.
Okay.
So it has 3 buildings. So the first building CO isn't until the 25th of this month, and the other 2 buildings CO will be in June. So
Okay.
the first building will be opening up. The first building will be opening up May 25th.
Okay. Oh wow, that's right around the corner.
And thank you, Tiffany. So CO means certificate of occupancy. So we can't move in. Individuals can't start moving into the units until that certificate of occupancy, until they have that. So I'm sorry. That's what CO means.
Thank we you, use Tiffany. Acronym all the time. So yes. And then we also have Cliffdale Ridge. And Cliffdale Ridge is in Cumberland County, is in Fayetteville. And we have so Chris can give you the background on that. Chris, how many applicants we have for that property, as well as has anyone actually moved in yet?
So we have 1 individual that's moved in. I think we have a total of 9 units total. I just got a couple of referrals yesterday. So right now we only have 1, and we have 2 referrals pending right now. So in theory, if you want to just say both of those got approved, then it would probably be like 6 units left. But Cliffdale Ridge and Fayetteville is wide open right now.
So go ahead, Chris.
No, that's it.
In other words, guys, we need referrals to Cliffdale Ridge, because that unit, they already have their COs. We have 1 person who's actually moved in already, and we need several more. So we have to fill all of those units. So please make us proud and send those referrals in to us as soon as you can. And I don't know a whole lot about Cumberland County, but I know about Fayetteville. So that's a pretty good, lucrative area. So they have a lot of amenities there. So if you have anyone, is anybody on the call? If you have anyone who's interested in moving in, they have openings right now. And I know they have 1 bedrooms and 2 bedrooms, and it's really open right now. So it's available now, guys. So please, send those referrals in to Chris, and so he can process this. And as soon as you send the referrals in and send whatever is needed attached to that referral, Chris can actually send it over to the Department of Health and Human Services, and we can.
Ms. Patricia,
go ahead.
Can I say? I'm sorry. Can I just make one thing?
Sure.
So Chris doesn't get all of the referrals for all of the properties. Okay. So me and Ms. Patricia, and this is just for people's FYI. So me and Ms. Patricia have split up the properties. So Cliffdale Ridge and Retreat at Selma are the ones that are assigned to me, and Ms. Patricia has properties that are assigned to her. So she would get the referrals for the properties that are assigned to her, and I would get the referrals for the ones that are assigned to me. And what usually happens is we send out a notification a month or 2 before the properties actually are scheduled to get their CO. So that's how you know who to send the referral to. It's not really I don't know if we produced a list to see who is over which property. But that's pretty much how that'll go when we send out the information initially. Whoever sends that out, whether it's me or Patricia, then that's the person you'll send the referral to for that particular property for the pilot.
For the pilot program. So with Cliffdale Ridge, those referrals goes to you, correct?
Yes, they do.
Okay. So just like I was saying, so if you have someone who's interested in living in Cumberland or the Fayetteville area, please send that referral packet to Chris. Okay. And I'm going to turn it over to Chris. Thank you, guys. Go ahead.
Hey, everybody. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to review how to complete the pilot referral. which is not any different from completing like a regular referral, but I'm just going to go through and share my screen and show you where everything goes, just to review each section, and I can answer any questions towards the end. I also touch a little bit on the community revitalization, and I also do a quick review of the provider housing preference discussion checklist. All right, so I'm going to share my screen real quick. Okay, so as you can see, this looks like your regular targeted referral. So the first thing I'm going to discuss is this is the actual referral, but the first thing I'm going to discuss is what actually has to be submitted with the referral. Okay, so obviously actual referral has to come. And now as of yesterday, an ROI must be submitted with all the referrals. I sent that ROI out to all or most of the managers with the hopes that they would dispense it to everybody. But as of yesterday, we cannot take a referral if it does not have that ROI connected to it, only because that ROI gives us permission to talk to the property manager about the application process and if any tenancy issues come up. So that ROI is definitely important. And that is for all members. All members must have that ROI with the referral. Another thing that comes with the referral would be an income statement. We have to have that as well. Any guardianship paperwork, if the member has a guardian, only if the member has a guardian, they have to submit guardianship paperwork. A rehousing plan. So if you had a member that wants to apply for one of these pilot properties and they were in a targeted unit previously and they were evicted, they're going to have a rehousing plan accompanied with their referral, or DHS, they will hold it until that rehousing plan comes to them. In a process of a safety transfer. So what that means, if you have a member who is currently in a targeted unit and there are some safety concerns and they want to transfer units for any safety concern, you have to do that safety transfer. That has to come with the referral. And again, all of these things are, the only thing that should come with each and every referral is the ROI and the income statement. The rest of these things are subjective to your members if they are in that certain situation. So I don't want everybody to think that they have to get all these particular. The guardianship statement is only for members who have guardians. The rehousing plan is only for members who are applying and were in a targeted unit previously and were evicted. And the safety transfer is for members who want to transfer from one targeted property to one of the pilots based on safety concerns. I hope that makes sense. But at the end of this, I'll allow you guys to ask questions. All right, so if everybody can see my screen. So this is the basic referral cover sheet. The first one is to DHHS. You can put the number of sheets that you're sending if you want to. That's not really big a deal. I don't think they really trip on that part. The referral agency will be Alliance Health. The date would be whatever date you're sending it to me. And then in this part is important. So the agency point would be me. So my name would go here. And again, if you're confused about that, you can always leave that blank and I can fill it in. My phone number goes right here. I am the person who would sign this, so I have to sign this. So whenever you send me a referral, please leave this section blank because that's the section where I need to sign at. Also add my email here and what their status is, whether they're TCL or homeless. This section is usually the person who is sending me the referral. So if Savannah Monet submitted the referral to me, her name would go here, her number here, and then her email here. Okay. And then right under that, where it says the referral is the actual member. So my member is Benita Apple. So I put her name and she is the head of the household. In this section in the list of properties, so on a normal targeted referral, you have to list on the cover sheet, the properties are listed by county. So basically what that means is you can't put Durham properties on the same cover sheet as you would put with Cumberland properties. I'm hoping that's making sense. But with the pilot properties have to go on this cover sheet by themselves. So if you're applying for the retreat at Selma, you only put the retreat at Selma on the list. If you're applying for Cliffdale Ridge or whatever property, you only put that one property on it. So when it comes to me, it should only have the one pilot property that you're sending a referral for. And then right here at the bottom, the member signs right here as the head of household signature. Going down to the targeting program household information form. Again, head of household names need to be printed. Benita Apple, that's my member. The member's date of birth, the housing slot number. Again, they won't take the referrals from us unless they have a housing slot number. So if you got that, please add that to your referral. Last 4 digits of the social security number. And in this section, you have to check where the member has stayed in the last 12 months, whether they were homeless or leaving a group home or wherever. You check which one is appropriate. And if it's not up here, you can check here and then write out where they were staying at. Next question, number of persons in household members, including live-in age. I have 2 because Benita has a son. And then this is also important, whatever accommodation or whatever amount of bedrooms that you put on this referral, this would be what they will be offered at the property. So for example, you can't put on the referral 2 bedrooms and then go to the property and the member asks for 3 bedrooms. It's not going to, whatever they need needs to be put on this referral. So if they need a 2-bedroom, fully accessible, roll-in shower, then that needs to be put up here. And then this section, you list the members who will be living in the unit with the member. So obviously you would put Benita, your member would be first because that person is the head of household. So it's the name, relationship, obviously head of household, and then the date of birth. If they have somebody else living with them, like children, juvenile children under the age of 18, you would put the name of the child, relationship, and then their date of birth. And then you put here current persons wherever they're currently living, the household address. If they're homeless, I think you could just leave it blank. I think it would be okay. And right here, these are just questions. So does the head of household have a guardian? I put no, but obviously, as I explained before, if it's yes, you need to attach those guardianship papers to the referral so they can be submitted along with the referral. I didn't check this one. I should have, but it says, is the head of household a person with a disability? You would put yes. Is the head of household income based on disability? So if they're getting SSI or SSDI, then that would be yes. If their income comes from working, then it obviously would be no. And then it's asking where the source. So if it's SSI, SSDI, and you have to put the amount. So it also needs to match because you're going to be submitting an income statement along with the referral. So if the income statement says they're getting SSDI at $1,350, then that's what it needs to put on the referral. So it can't be, or if it's split up, you gotta do both, and then you have to specify how much they get from each source. And then on section A, again, that's the list of total income. And then this section number 9, this is letting the property know what type of unit, whether they need an accessible unit. So if the person is asking for a handicap unit, and it kind of describes what comes with the handicap unit, like wider doors and grab bars. If they need a fully accessible unit with a curbless shower. So they would take yes or no if that's something that they would need. Is the members visually impaired? Do they need a visually accessible unit? They would check yes or no. Do they require a ground floor unit? If the property doesn't have an elevator, they would check yes or no. So again, the type of unit that they're going to be assigned is going to be solely based on what is put on this referral. So definitely encourage you guys to make sure whomever's completing a referral does it with the member so that they have complete input and understanding of, what to, when they get there, what this is the type of unit that they'll be added in. So obviously the households, the rental subsidy has to be TCL. At this point, they're not taking non-TCL people for the pilot program. Not regular targeted is different, but for the pilot program, they're only taking people who have TCL. This question is person living in a targeted unit before, it'd be yes or no. Like I explained before, if it's yes, you have to explain why they were. If they were evicted, you have to submit that rehousing plan. Obviously, nobody that's a full-time student that's over the age of 18, so your members can't be a full-time student and be in targeted housing. Again, they can have children who are obviously in high school, middle school, elementary school, whatever, but no one living in the house can be considered like a full-time student. I see somebody has their hand raised. I'll take that question real quick. Ms. Smith, what's your question?
Yes, I just met with a member yesterday. She has a daughter that's 18, high school now, but will be going to college. And she wanted a 2-bedroom for when she, comes home on breaks and stuff. Would that be an issue with her? Because she's 18 and then she's in school. She'll be in school.
Right. So she's applying now at the age of 18 and she's in high school, but
yeah,
that's a good question.
She said she would be going to school, I guess in August. So I know, like, if they're 18, I guess they may have to split the rent if they're living, but she's not really going to be living with her per se.
She is, I think here's the thing, Shakita. I don't believe that that is actually going to be a problem because she's 18 years old. She's going to be going to college, so she's actually going to be coming back on breaks and she's doing the summer breaks, Christmas break and spring break, and then they're doing the summer break. So where are you going to put that 18-year-old? You can't just say no, she can't live there. So I really don't think that's going to be a problem, but I know that the property manager is going to ask some form of documentation that she is enrolled in school and that she will be coming. So getting a 2-bedroom for her, I really don't believe it. I don't see that as being a problem. Chris, do you have any comments on that?
I don't. I will defer to you because I've never been in that situation yet. So, I mean, it sounds right, but I've never been in that situation before. Yeah. I mean, that would sound like the right thing to do. So I would just say defer to you. So I would say, okay, whatever you say on that one.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be an issue.
Okay.
Because I wouldn't want my 18-year-old to be on the street in the summertime either. You know what I mean?
So I could just do a 2-bedroom, and put no for solely the if you scroll back up the household solely with full-time students, I can put no for that, and then
because you're answering the question for the head of the household.
For the head of household, okay.
Yes.
And then would that person have to be on the lease though? Would that be something I would have to talk to them?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So next section is the targeted referral program letter. The member just needs to obviously print their name right here. This section is to be signed by DHHS. So you guys don't do anything with this section, just this first section right here. And then below that in section 2, the member needs to sign and date. And the dates, we want to make sure the dates match all on. So we don't want May 8th at the top and then May 10th right here. So we want to make sure all of the dates match. This section right here is left blank. That's for DHHS to complete. This form is only completed if a member is homeless. So if you don't have if your member is not homeless, then you can just leave this form blank. And if they are homeless, this form has to be verified and signed by the agency verifying that they are homeless.
Chris, can I say something real quick? So when Chris, could you go back to the handicap and accessible unit selection? And the reason why Chris and I are really stressing this point and this part right here, because when we receive the application, and if it says a handicap accessible unit with the wide doors and the grab bars, correct? So the medical team that is assigned to that member has already established that person needs wide doors and the grab bars. So here's what has been happening. And the reason why Chris and I are really stressing this right now is because a lot of the members, when they go to submit their application and the property, there is verbiage on the application stating, do you need a handicap accessible unit? And they will ask that applicant that question. And when they ask that applicant that question, the applicant will say, no, I don't need one. And so that is going to be a conflict because on the application, it said handicap accessible unit. And when DHHS makes the referral, they said, Miss Bonita needs a handicap accessible unit. But Miss Bonita, when she goes to complete her application, she said, no, I don't need one. So we really need to be on the same page. Whatever the referral says, whatever the letter referral gets sent over to the property manager, if it says handicap accessible unit and the referrals, and you select A, that person needs a handicap accessible, we just to make sure that that is being implemented at the time of the application. Otherwise, we get in trouble. The person is receiving a unit and that person needs a handicap. And that's also for safety reason too, because if that person gets into a standard unit and there's no grab bar and that person falls, well, we don't want that happening either. So we just want to make sure that the member actually received the unit that has been determined by their medical team and the providers as well as the clinician as well. Okay.
Yeah, thank you for that, Miss Patricia. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that is it. That one, Miss Geneva, can you share the next slide on it, please? The next one.
Next one.
Oh, you got it. Okay. So real quick, I'm gonna talk about community revitalization. So community revitalization is a strategy to improve the quality of life of low-income communities through investments in housing, commercial districts, education, health, and public safety and employment. The most promising efforts involve residents, organizations, businesses, and associations and multi-sectional partnerships to engage, plan, implement, oversee, and evaluate change efforts. Some of our new pilot properties are being constructed in areas that have a reputation of having no resources, being food deserts, and having high drug and crime rates. Over the last 15 years, the state of North Carolina has invested billions of dollars into affordable housing, along with partnering with businesses to add to these neighborhoods. These additions often provide employment opportunities, access to better food, and healthcare. Along with the access to public libraries and community centers, the areas are being built to encourage community engagement outside of the home. Most properties are within walking distance from grocery stores, pharmacies, convenience stores, retail stores, etc. So in theory, these changes should make the neighborhoods a lot safer and more attractive for individual and single families. Most major cities and some rural areas in North Carolina have invested in these revitalization projects. Fayetteville, Raleigh, Charlotte, and Selma are some of the communities that have started this process. So I wanted to touch on this because I know a lot of these pilot properties are in sections that are kind of notorious for being very, very high crime rate areas. And I know that we have come across some members not wanting to go to those areas because of the reputation, which is their right. So I'm not saying to force anything on anyone. I would just encourage everyone to take the members or encourage the providers to drive the members by those properties and just see the new things that are happening.
Maria, this
Because
is Dr. Curtis from Monarch Act Team.
If Miss
I
Susan,
was
can you mute yourself,
always
please?
understood from Tanya that you had a question.
Miss Geneva, can you mute? Okay. So, like I was saying, I would just encourage the providers or whoever is with the members to drive by these properties and just kind of see what's the new things that are going on, because that's a lot of these projects are a part of the community revitalization program. So they're trying to change the narrative about some of these areas. So, I mean, I totally get, the reputation, but before the member, commits to making a decision about one of these properties, I would encourage them to just go by the neighborhood and ride by and just kind of see, some of the changes that are happening, and then allow them to make their decisions on whether they want to move forward or not. Okay. Next slide. Okay, so lastly, I am going to go over the service provider housing preference discussion checklist that it was created by DHHS. So I'm not going to hit every single point. I'm gonna just kind of just maybe hit some of the main points, and these are just things that can be discussed with the members prior to choosing the unit. Things that can be discussed during the pre-application phase, along with some of the documents that they will need when they do go to complete the application. So just for clarity, the members, once the referral is sent to me and is approved by DHHS, they will send me a letter of referral, which I will then send to you guys, and then they will go to the property to complete the applications. The applications aren't completed through me or Patricia. So I just wanted to put that out there. So the first thing, has this member seen the property and know where it's located? Things that should be considered when discussing the following. Okay, does the member drive? So will transportation be an issue? Do they use public transportation? So obviously where they go needs to be close to public transportation. I know most of the properties that have came online so far are usually in the city and close to public transportation. I can't say all of them will be, but most of the ones that I've seen have been in close proximity. And like I said, when I was talking about community revitalization, going to the areas to see if there are, grocery stores around, if there are churches around, medical facilities, to kind of give them an idea of what they would have access to, that would be in walking distance if they don't have a car. And like I said, most of these properties are being built, not only the units or the properties are being built, but things are being built around them to make it more convenient for individuals to live there and who don't have access to regular transportation. The next one would be, if the property doesn't have an elevator, which floor would best suit the member? And that goes back to the referral again. I think that doing the referral with the member, and if the member is handicapped or needs a certain type of unit, wants a ground floor unit, that should be kind of put on the referral. So just having that discussion about what type of unit they would need. Also letting them know about, it's going to be their responsibility for utility bills. So the members can't move in until they have the utilities turned on. So that's going to be something that's going to need to be discussed even at the referral stage. Okay, do they owe money? Okay, so if they owe money, what's going to have to be done in order to get that balance paid so they can get those utilities turned on in their unit? And just discussing the cost of things, discussing cooling costs. If there's any suspicion of if they have pests, and it just kind of needs to be understood that whose responsibility it would need to be if there is a infestation. And Patricia and I are in contact with the property manager so we could get more information on that. But if that has been a problem with the member in the past, that would be something that could be discussed on the front end. And I see a lot of questions in the chat about this form. So this form was kind of sent out to most of the managers. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, all of the managers in theory that they would share it with you guys. So, I mean, if you don't have it or you can't get it from your manager, you can shoot me an email and I can send you a copy of it. And I can also send you a copy of that sample referral. Not those two forms won't be on the PowerPoint. So if your managers don't have this service provider checklist form, you can email me. I can shoot you a copy. But if if you guys want the sample application, I can definitely, if you email me, I can shoot you a copy of that. Does the member have accessibility needs? I don't feel like we need to go over that. I think that we just kind of touched that already. Review the property smoking policy. Okay, so I know of one targeted property who allows smoking in the unit. So I will say that most target properties do not allow smoking in the unit. Some target properties allow smoking in designated smoking areas, but then other target properties don't allow smoking on campus at all. So if you have a member who smokes, that needs to be in the discussion. So they need to understand, okay, is there a smoking area or do I have to go off campus to smoke? So that needs, because that will be a cause for an eviction. Not smoking in the designated area on a smoke-free campus, having any type of smoking paraphernalia in your house. And I know that for a fact because I do supportive housing and we see that all the time. So they don't necessarily have to catch you smoking in the unit to issue you a notice to vacate for smoking. Ms. Geneva, you can slide. I think it's one more page it is.
Yeah, and also too with the smoking, you cannot, when they say no smoking on the property, you are not able to smoke on your patio. Some people think that, oh, well, I'm not smoking in the unit, but I can smoke on my patio. That is a definitely no as well. Just want to let you guys know that too, so you can have that discussion with the members.
So pre-application discussion. So review and discuss the following with the member. Is there a criminal background? Okay, so if you know your member has a criminal background, discussing what your options would be for that. We have an outstanding person who does reasonable accommodations now. So if you can tie that criminal background to their disability, please get with him to get the reasonable accommodation completed. So that isn't an option now. Credit and background checks. Have a discussion about what the member's credit background could be. Any previous landlord concerns of evictions. Like I said, with the pilot program, it'll be in their best interest to have that discussion. Have they ever lived in targeted property before? And if they have and they were evicted, I thought we talked earlier about, them needing a rehousing plan. We touched on unpaid utilities because the utilities have to be turned on before they can move into the property. So if they owe a balance, it would be good to know that up front so that we can, figure out some resources to try and get that paid before they try and move into housings. Verify household not comprised of 100% of full-time students. So I think that we touched on that before. The head of household cannot be a full-time student. So documents that you will need at the point of application. So we'll need birth certificate for all household members, social security card files for all household members, photo IDs for all household members over the age of 18. Anyone who is on that referral who plans on being in the unit must complete an application to be listed on the lease. Yeah, and and most documentation from your checking and savings. So that'll mostly be at the application phase. Okay, that's it, Mr. You go to the next one. All right. That's all that my part is. Mr. D, were you gonna do the friendly reminder?
I can if you need me to.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't know if you had this.
Yeah.
I can do it. No, it's no problem. I can. I didn't even read it.
It's okay.
So yeah, the state requires award letters should be current at least 120 days from lease signing. So what's that? 4 months? I believe my math
Yeah.
right. I didn't do well in math.
It
Okay.
is.
So when they go to the app to when they go to sign the lease, that award letter can't be any more than 4 months old. Okay. I hope that's making sense to everybody. Just sure that you are using the most up-to-date forms and applications. Yes. So there was a form that DHHS sent out in the beginning of January. That was the form that we had been using for 5 months. But a couple of weeks ago, recently, there was another form from February that we were informed that we should be using. So I sent that out to the people that need it in hopes that they would disperse it to everybody. But again, if you don't have the updated application, please just either let Patricia or myself know, and we will send you a copy of that. If you submit an RA for a member, please let the housing team know for tracking purposes. Yes, please. Thank you for that, because we are tracking everything who has had RA submitted and everything. So if they were approved or if they were denied. So please do that. When applying for a targeted pilot unit, only list the targeted pilot unit for which you are applying for on the cover sheet. Yes. And I think we covered that when I went over the application.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep.
Also, too, I'm sorry.
Nope, you got it.
Well, also too, I noticed that Colleen Slayton he put the reasonable accommodation email address is in the chat, is ra@alliancehealthplan.org. So if you have like a reasonable accommodation, if you need reasonable accommodation and modification to a unit, if a person has been denied, you will send that information based on their background or criminal background, and you feel that the person needs to be given a fair chance, you send that letter into Colleen, and he will address that issue with you, will help you and assist you with that reasonable accommodation. So we do have a email address now. You don't have to send it directly to him. You could just, I mean, it goes directly to him, but it's at ra@alliancehealthplan.org. So that is great. I really like that we have that now in place. So giving each and every one of our applicants a fair opportunity to receive safe and affordable housing. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
So I believe that's it. Oh, here we go. That's what I was just about to say. So,
question and answers.
Any questions?
I know we touched on a lot of things. Both Chris and I went through this, so we touched on a lot of things. So if you guys, okay, thank you. Dennis, you're not on mute. I'm sorry. So Chris and I went over this. We touched on a lot of important and key components to the pilot program. We don't know if this is going to be, we're hoping that this is going to be a continuation and we still will have these properties, but we don't. So they have to actually trying it out with us now. Hopefully we will continue this and we can do a really good job. And they say, oh, you guys are the bomb.com and y'all will continue to do this on a regular basis. That's the answer I want to hear. So far, I think we're doing really good. We did have some glitches, but we are ironing all of those out. And so we're doing well. And so we're filling the units that has been assigned to us. And so I appreciate everybody sending those referrals into Chris and I and getting these units filled as quickly as possible. So thank you guys for that. You guys are doing an amazing job on that. So we really appreciate that. So if anybody have any questions on what we said today or what we went over today, any questions concerned about anything? Well, Chris, I think we did such a good job. They don't even have no question. Yay.
Right. So let's get off of here right now before they change it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Chris and Patricia, for taking that on, discussing the housing pilot overview. Our next Better at Home is on May 22nd, and we'll be talking about the client care web. And at this time, we're going to begin this transition into our supportive housing Q&A. So at this time, we'll be switching platforms here, where we will allow any providers or TCs or care managers who may have any questions for the housing team. Please avoid using PHI. Just make your questions as generic as possible. And we're here to help. So please come off mute and ask any questions you may have to the supportive housing team. I believe our managers are on here and the whole entire supportive housing staff. So feel free to ask any questions. Thank you. No questions? Okay, so the next slide is you guys will receive the email with your certificates and this PowerPoint presentation, and it has our contact information, which I'm sharing my screen. If you need to reach any of us at the in the supportive housing department. We thank you for attending the Better at Homes today, and we hope you all have a rest of your a great week ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you guys for everything. Thank you guys. We really appreciate you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.